Hi, this interesting story was told to me by an acquaintance, and I want to retell it to you. Subscribe to the channel that do not miss the release of new stories on the channel. Thank you. Let's go. I don't know how many relatives my wife has. I've lost count of all these aunts, brothers, and uncles. I can't even remember their faces, let alone their names. When guests come over, it's like calling the police. It's not that they don't give me money for food, not at all, but all these presentations and buffets take a lot of time. 2 weeks ago, some cousin came to visit, and recently my mother-in-law came too. She is 49 years old, has a nice hairstyle, but she is a little overweight, soft and kind. She's not tall, not a photo model, legs from the ears. So, average, about 5'6", and that's in heels. Shouting, kissing, and other rituals of meeting daughter and mother are over. We can move on to the feast. We sat for a while. It was in a country house. My wife had to go to work in the morning, so she went to bed early, and my mother-in-law and I stayed a little longer. I have a legal vacation. I can afford it. We talked about everything and nothing. The guests are already in their house clothes. Shorts, t-shirts, flip-flops. Of course, everything is very beautiful, but mosquitoes do not understand anything and feed on our blood, not distinguishing who is a guest and who is the host. My mother-in-law is a big beer drinker. You can see it in her figure, although she doesn't have a beer belly, but it's an acquired thing, and with the amount she drinks, her tongues start to work better. Topics become more relaxed. Words become closer to oral folk art. That is, things are called by their names, and we start talking about this and that. Yes, we're talking about male and female themes. We got to the point where it was time for us to go to bed. I can't sleep after talking like that, so I hardly slept at all. In the morning, I started my wife's car, drove out of the yard, and my beloved went to work, leaving me to entertain my mother. She promised to bring something delicious in the evening, and I walked around the yard. I could work, but only here. With a hangover in my head, thoughts of work come last. I took a bath and felt better. And then my mother-in-law woke up, wrinkled, as if from the washing machine. She had been taken out and not ironed. She came out on the porch in her bathrobe, in what can't even be called clothes. She stretched so sweetly. Then she washed her face, ate breakfast, and did her other morning rituals. Over breakfast, I told her about her and my tasks for the day. Her main task is to rest and enjoy being a guest, and mine is to make that rest as comfortable as possible. Here is the schedule for the day, which includes everything, even a trip to the nearest forest for mushrooms and berries, if mother-in-law so wants to be alone with nature. The offer was accepted, and we accordingly went to the forest, which is right behind my plot. I do not know what my wife was thinking, suggesting this kind of entertainment, but mushrooms, something in the immediate vicinity, is not particularly observed. They did not seek to get into the basket, and my mother-in-law rejoices in every inedible mushroom, as if a treasure trove of gold found. We are already tired of walking. The house over there it is near, only because of the trees you have to go out, and it seemed to her that we went to hell knows where. And the fact that we'd been walking in circles all this time didn't occur to her. So we sat down, drank some water, and started talking again, which we hadn't finished yesterday, on male and female topics. So, word by word, in the forest clearing, and began our stormy romance. After a while, the mother-in-law, satisfied, without too much noise gathered, and we went home. Now no longer in circles, but straight ahead. Here it is, the house. In general, the mother-in-law turned out to be a wonderful woman. I could not be pleased, and gave her hospitality. 2 weeks passed quickly, and it was time to see the guest off. My wife accompanied her to the station, and I limited myself to saying goodbye to her at the door. There were hugs, kisses, invitations to come again, and promises to return. In the weeks following the visit to my mother-in-law's house, I felt increasingly restless. What seemed like harmless play at the time was now gnawing at my conscience. I knew that if my wife ever found out that I had been doing adult things with her own mother, it would break her and likely end our marriage. Guilt was building up inside me like a pressure cooker about to burst. I had to come clean, even if it cost me everything. One night, as we were cleaning up after dinner, I pulled myself together and turned off the music. "Honey, I have a confession to make." I began confusingly. I described how, after too much to drink, a reckless encounter with my mother-in-law had turned into physical intimacy in the woods. My voice shook as I described the passion in the moment and my regret afterward. By the time I finished, tears were streaming down my wife's stunned face. "How could you?" she whispered. "With my own mother?" She flew into a rage, shouting curses through agonizing sobs. I had never seen her so distraught. "It was a terrible error in judgment that I will regret forever," I pleaded. "But please believe me, you and the kids are everything to me. It was a one-time thing. It won't happen again." "Get out!" gasped my wife. "I can't even look at you right now." I backed slowly toward the door, putting my hand on the knob. "For that matter, I'm really sorry. I love you more than anything in the world." She turned away, her body shaking with rage and pain. I walked out of the house with my head hung low, with each step moving further away from the life I cherished and foolishly ruined with one reckless act. For the next few months, I kept my wife on my mind, seeking to see her, staying with a friend while I looked for an apartment. To my horror, she began divorce proceedings shortly thereafter. I hoped that through patient effort, I could someday regain her trust, but I understood her anger. My infidelity had set off an atomic bomb, leaving our marriage a smoldering ruin. As I signed the divorce papers, I vowed to myself that I would spend my life striving to be the decent man my wife and children deserved. Maybe then I could forgive myself for letting them down so badly when they needed me most. Some wounds will never fully heal, but what happened can never be undone. And that's something I have to live with. And my mother-in-law, at first she rejected me too, after my divorce from my wife, and then she started calling me and demanding a meeting. Nature demands its own. She wants warmth, but I'm not in the condition to return what ruined my life.